with his horse-like head, utter, thus, sakshat, directly, saha, he, Yajna-purusha, person who is pleased by the performance of sacrifice. Kapaniya, golden, varna, you, Chandamaya, personified Vedic hymns, Mahamaya, personified sacrifice, Akhila, all that be, Devata Atma, the soul of the demigod, Vachaha, sound, Bhagavaha, becomes audible. Usati, very pleasing to hear. Swasataha, while breathing. Asya, his, nastaha, through the nostrils. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Swami. The Lord appeared as Hayagriva incarnation in a sacrifice performed by me, that is Brahma. He is the personified sacrifices, and the hue of his body is golden. He is the personified Vedas as well, and the super soul of all the demigods. When he breathed, all the sweet sounds of the Vedic hymn came out of his nostrils. The Vedic hymns are generally meant for sacrifices performed by the pretty workers who also want to satisfy the demigods to achieve their appropriate results. But the Lord is the personified sacrifice and personified Vedic hymns. Therefore, one who is directly a devotee of the Lord is a person who has automatically both served the purposes of sacrifices and please the demigods. The devotees of the Lord may not perform any sacrifice or may not please the demigods as per Vedic injunctions, and still the devotees are on a higher level than the fruiting workers or the worshippers of the different demigods. Om Jnana-Timirandasya Jnana-Tinashlakaya Chakshurvitanyena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupadamaham Dadati Swatantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Pritavadakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Sri Rupam Sakrajatam Sakana Runatham Tamtam Sanjipam Sadvaitam Savdutam Parijan Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Pada Sakana Lalita Sri Vishakanta He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavameshwari Krishabhanu Sate Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhye Vacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namah Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauramani Acharya Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Vasyapya Deshakare Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Satre Maha Bhagavan Hari Shri Sakshat Savyakta Purushasta Paniya Varna Chando Mayo Mukamayo Akila Devatatma Vacho Papur Vashoshati Svasatos Varnasta. The Lord appeared as Hayagriva incarnation and a sacrifice performed by me, that is Brahma. He is personified sacrifices and the hue of his body is golden. He is personified with us as well, and the super soul of demigods. When he breathed, all the sweet sounds of this Vedic hymns came out from his nostrils. So this is the Horse incarnation. In the beginning, where in the Vedic times, people who are performance of Vedic sacrifices as well as sacrifices of their work, they were Sakam Bhaktas. The Vedic sacrifices for betterment of the society. And those who are doing Purushartha or personal spending of his own energy to generate something, that's what we call karmis. Because the age was very conducive to the performance of sacrifices. It means Yajna was recommended in Tritayu. Performance of Vedic sacrifices is the means of salvation in Tritayu. So Shesha must be an incarnation during that time. Moreover, this incarnation, according to Brahma, is personified sacrifice and personified Vedas, etc. also. What do you mean by that? Personified sacrifices and personified Vedic hymns. Everything, even in Karma, which is meant for the pleasure of the Vishnu, or it is meant by performance in the early ages without much struggle and dissensions. Means people are not that much envious. It was a better yuga. According to Kali Yuga, that time was better, far better. But they have to be indirectly, remaining Krishna conscious. So, hybrid incarnation will come. Why hybrid form especially? Horse-tailed incarnation. It's not a matter of only being an animal, but he had only the hair of horse, but the rest of the body was human. Alright? Half horse, half man. Hari Ashwa. The personification of the incarnation, as well as the Vedic hymns, are also personified. That means Yajna Purush, or the deity of fire sacrifice, is called Yajna Purush, and that is Lord Vishnu himself. Right? He came to establish the Vedic hymns as the means of performance of fire sacrifice. We chant all different kinds of Vedic hymns in order to establish that our process is perfect and it is ultimately to be offered to the pleasure of the Krishna. In our fire sacrifice also, we, according to our Vaishnava system of Pancharatra, It is for all devotee characters. We chant even the gopis' name. We chant, even Navyagendra's names. We chant so many personalities who were pure devotees. They knew the devotee, but the devotee only knew devotional service. Now they were aware of every other methodology that is pertinent to that particular yoga. But when we see that personification of sacrifice and personification of the Vedic hymns and the knowledge, even they appear as gopis because they were longing for association of Lord Krishna when they become. So during Ramchandra's Treta Yuga, fire sacrifice was also there. But they wanted to exhibit, the rishis, they wanted to exhibit Parakiya Bhava. And Ramchandra told them, no, I have taken the vow of one wife, means only Swakiya. So I cannot interact with you in that mood, but you have to wait. So these personified Vedas and the rishis and everybody were given an opportunity to appear as gopis in Vrindavan. So what is this personification? The Vedas, it comes in the form of sound vibration. But how can a sound vibration become personified? When you chant Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada would see Krishna dancing on your tongue. That is a personification of the sound vibration. What does it mean? How will we realize personification? The sound vibration must be equal to personification and must be equal to all the extraordinary divine activities. Everything will be at one level, the same level. Right now, I'm on a physical level, okay? But the sound vibration may be purified somewhat. But it takes time to see the realization of what Srila Prabhupada was realizing. Personification means you need potency plus qualities. Potency and qualities. They make a form. Qualities are the gunas. Guna means rope or binding instrument. So when energy is bound by the modes, personification comes. The body is made up of earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and ego. These are all different energies which is manifested at the material level. And three modes of material nature is binding this body. So this body is a personification of energy plus guna, or the qualities. So similarly, the spiritual energy and spiritual qualities are there. There are three energies. Three energies. Sandhini, Samvit, and Tatini potencies. And they are being bound by three modes of spiritual nature. It's called Sat, Chit, and Ananda. So formation of spiritual body is can be understood this way. It's equivalent. So when we hear this personified Vedas and personified yajna, hymns and everything personified, yes. And if we try to understand, it penetrates our heart and deep inside. That it is not fantasy. It is not what you call flowery language. Nothing is impersonal. Nothing is impersonal. Even impersonalists have form, but their thinking is impersonal because they don't have the higher perception that Vedas are describing. So therefore, they cut short. Otherwise, why would they dare to say, hey, you do not have to surrender to Krishna, but one who is speaking through him. Krishna is speaking today also in the form of Bhagavad Gita. We can personify that enactment of instructions that Krishna is giving to us. We can not imagine, but it comes on our mental platform when actual things are happening. So they are flickering. As soon as we stop reading, probably such personification in our mind will be over. Right? But it is a fact that in eternity, and when Satchidananda, three spiritual modes and three spiritual energies exist, then personification is possible and it is not imaginary. So when Brahma meditates, he can describe, high reincarnation. But Brahma also described Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karana Sahasra Patra Kamalam Shastra Matpada Tat Karikaranam Tat Dhamam Tat Anatamsha Sambhavam. Sambhavam means it is manifested. The spiritual world is manifested by the Sandhini potency called Ananta or Bhagavan. Potency is to be found out by spiritual modes and it manifests. Is there any difference between Radharani and her Radhini potency? You cannot separate. So similarly, there's knowledge about the whole creative energies of Krishna was imparted to Brahma, Tene Brahmanadaya Adikave Mudyantis. By whom? The Sambhik potency of Lord Krishna, she is sitting in her heart, and that is the Saraswati. That is the Saraswati. So, just like Sandhini potency, this existential potency is personification of Lord Bhagavan. Sambhik Shakti is personification of Saraswati, and Late is the personification of Radha. But then Bhakti Devi is also coming in between. Personified Bhakti Devi will be there, where Sambhik and Ladini Shakti will combine to make Bhakti Devi. So Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayajita Janayat Yasu Jnanam Vairagyam Shadahitam. Bhakti Devi is said to generate important factors. That any devotee who has to be estimated on the higher level, but he must have these two things. Vairagyam and ahaitikya. These are two generative factors. But Bhakti Devi can impart the knowledge. But those who are beginners, they have to depend upon the sound vibration only. Right? But when you grow, you have to realize that nothing is fake. People who were practicing during Treta Yuga, you think that they are like the Western civilization? They have origins. Far west you go, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Muranacha. What is there for us to imitate them? What is there to imitate them? Nothing. Why we are so mad? Because we are ignorant. But ignorance is no excuse. Ignorance is no excuse. So, to dispel the ignorance, higher ego is here. And he is breathing through his nostrils. So don't be confused. It is important to say everything in personification. You may not see it, but you may realize it. Then, seeing far away, we would have to again come during the appearance of the heaven, and then we will realize if they are, favorable to the devotional service. So, one who is directly a devotee of the Lord is person who has automatically both served the purpose of sacrifices and pleased the demigods. The demigods, they are intermediary recipient of the final product of the yajna. They have their share. Any sacrifice we perform, all the demigods are also present. And if we deny somebody, or if we are ignorant, just like Daksha Prajapati, he was ignorant about Lord Shiva's progress of the spiritual nature. Lord Shiva is a spiritual personality. But in the material world, when Brahma brought him to become Prajapati, Lord Shiva expanded himself into 11 Rudras, and all the progeny of Rudras is called Bhairavas. Bhairavas are very good. And they wanted their own activity of devouring everything and everything across. And they could find nothing but the children produced by the other Prajapatis. So, Lord Shiva was a Prajapati, supposed to be. But Brahma saw it as a failure. Why? Because there is confrontation between the progeny of the rishis as Prajapatis and Bhairavas. Bhairavas were strong in devouring them. And Brahma said, oh my God, it's a frustration. I am supposed to populate the world, and right from the beginning, destruction is happening. Shivji, you we should not be Prajapati, because we are supposed to be withdrawing. As in the end, after creation, sustenance, and dissolution is done by Shivji. So, even destruction is called Yajna. Destruction is also an approved situation of Lord Vishnu. But that is ordained by him, not ordained by human being. Human being is part of product of Prajapatis. And they cannot be, yes, those who are in mode of ignorance, they will be destroyed. But they are repelled by the most. That does not contribute into the purpose of the higher order of Brahma. Brahma must be frustrated when the day is empty. He has to go to sleep. So, in any case, when we see the personification aspect, it is very important to understand that it is not simply an expression of flowery language. It is not. It gives us thought to investigate more deeper that how it is axiomatically the truth. Truth, which is axiomatically truth. When we see A plus B is equal to C, so therefore A is equal to B is equal to C, therefore A is equal to C. B is equal to C. It's equal. If A is equal to B, and B is equal to C, therefore A is equal to C. That is the basic algebra. So the idea is that when three modes of material nature are there, one is for construction, one is for retention, and third is for distractions. So that will go on. But whoever is participating, they are not simply what we call the energies which are inexplainable of the matter. Energies cluster. The material sciences, they are telling that different kinds of energy come together to collide and destroy. Even Srila Prabhupada, in his easy journey to other planets, when he was commenting the very first article that there is a matter and antimatter. So two different worlds are there. And if both come together, there will be total devastation. Prabhupada said no. We believe in antimatter, that is spiritual nature, and material nature is there. Both are coexisting. Material nature, it will come, sustain for some time, and destroy. That is its nature. So, this knowledge is available. And when Vedas express or postulate even truth, it is not ordinary. Of course, Trigurnya Vishaya Veda Nispragunyo Bhavajana. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna advises that the Vedics, they are filled with the effect of the three modes of material nature. And that is an inferior nature. But superior nature is there. So, the soul is personified. It cannot be impersonal. And therefore we assume a personality because our personalities. So, personification is the ultimate aspect of understanding, and it is not a make-believe story. Alright? So I agree it is an incarnation. It is possible. The qualities of a horse, especially as a living entity, is very peculiar, and very sturdy, and the way the horse functions, it is appropriately, and the Lord is taking incarnation in every species of life. In every species of life. These are the names, Christ incarnation, tortoise incarnation, then incarnation is Suva, then half-man, half-lion. So why not? And Brahma is telling in every species of life, because every species has some peculiarity, because it is created, and created in aspect of Krishna. Ultimate aim is Brahma aims to create all these different species of life. But the possibility, because the three modes of material nature and permutation and combination is there, so multiple varieties are there. So that many species will be there. So 8.4 million species of life. And material science cannot express anything. I have been telling, even the students do not know anything. But now scientists are finding out, few years back in Papua New Guinea, they found a transparent frog. You can see the heart beating, the blood flowing, without opening up. It is like a glass frog. So scientists are bewildered. Yeah, those who are ignorant will be bewildered. But when we study the Shastra, we will stop bewildering. So here is the very important incarnation. He came to propagate the act of sacrifice to praise the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the devotees of the Lord may not perform any sacrifice or may not please the demigods as per Vedic injunction, and that still the devotees are on a higher level than the fruitive workers or worshippers of all different demigods. This is also kind of a limited application for fruitive activity. Just for fruitive activity alone, our energy is being used, that is imperfect. And moreover, having four defects, our activities will be imperfect. Only the perfection is coming through exploration of our inner self, the spiritual self, the soul, and that will put everything into a very uniform and satisfaction. Without that, material world will be imperfect, and it is going to remain imperfect. For Krishna, everything is made perfect, but because our perception is imperfect, we will never reach perfection. This, that we become spiritualized, that will be the perfection, and then we understand through these, nitty explanation. Anybody from outside, they say, what kind of literature is this? But it does not give them any iota that there is something, another kind of, rastasmatu bhava. That is other bhava means existence of the perception. It is not whimsical thinking, but there exists. Spirituality exists, and that bhava one has to be good because the living entity is spiritual in nature, not material. So, if anybody has any questions? I introduce science. Do you think it is proper? No objection.
It's very important, Maharaj, to understand how the name personifies. Otherwise, it's just mechanical chanting, and we can.
Sambhavam means manifestation. The spiritual world has been manifested by Ananta Shesh, is the expansion of Bhagavan. That Ananta Sambhavam. It's not bluff. And Brahma is realized. Brahma is our chief professor. So unless and until Brahma is realized, how come we get his realization in this succession? Starting from Brahma, that is the advantage. Why other sampradayas are not that much efficiently or satisfactorily traveling? Mata sampradaya, they are called tattvavadis. They pick up the tattva and everything is possible. But beyond tattvavadi, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought no. If you know the tattva, then you will be able to understand the pastimes of Lord Krishna, which are very intricate. That one is the truth behind it.
Maharaj, you mentioned through the reading, basically the Lord's personification of sacrifices. Then there is mention of sacrifices where offerings are for the demigods. And the Vaishnava way of sacrifices is through the pure devotees. And of course the Yuga Dharma of congregational chanting. So how in the current day, current times, or current context, how do we reconcile?
The purpose of sacrifice is to satisfy the Supreme Personality God, Yahweh Purush, not the demigods. Demigods can take the remnants, they have to be given. Just like after a fire sacrifice, we distribute prasad. The prasad is the phala of performance. Yes. And if we distribute, we also, when we distribute to the mouth of Brahmanas, the Lord is satisfied. So why not intermediate in the demigods will be satisfied? One should not separately perform any yajna for demigods. So our process has been direct. Satisfy the Supreme and If you pour water on the roots, then everywhere it will be distributed in the plant. Similarly, just satisfy the Supreme Lord directly. Otherwise, indirect process. Yanti dev, pradate, yanti. That is the sacrifice of the demigods. Krishna does not approve that.
So Maharaj, whilst we say the ultimate is satisfying the Supreme Lord, then because the Yuga Dharma is chanting, then how relevant would a fire sacrifice be in that context?
Everything is combined, because Pancharatriki Vidhi needs performance of fire sacrifice. But the aim is only to please Lord Vishnu. So it is different from Karma Kanda. Chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra is not Karma. And when we perform fire sacrifice at the time of initiation, they are offering them lifelong vows as sacrifice. So, to please Lord Vishnu, that is the aim. So, Pancharatriki Vidhi must be utilized, not for karma. Otherwise, similar thing will also happen in Satyanarayana Puja, which is for karma. We do not perform that. Even though Narayana will be there, but no, just for simple material nature. So, we are not karma karmis. Neither we are jnana karmis, but we are upasana karmis. Bhakti, upasana makes with full knowledge, and our vows make a progress. That is the ultimate. Jnana kanda, karma kanda, sarva vedira bhanda. Bhanda means points. So, Jnana kanda is also part of the Vedas. Karma kanda is also part of the Vedas. That sakali ashanti. Everybody is ashanti. Karma kandi, jnana kandi, they are ashanti. Are eka Krishna bhakta tatadeva shanti. The devotee is only peaceful because they are directly worshipping Krishna. So, even the processes may be looking similar, but Pancharatriki Vidhi is there. People use for karma kanda, we do not approve that. Anything else? Okay. Hare Krishna Prabhupada.
Swami Maharaj.